You're listening to Season 3 of Celebrating Simple Life, the podcast. I'm Kimberly Evans, and I've been planning events, workshops, retreats, and socials for almost 20 years. After working with so many incredible clients and entrepreneurs, and personally experiencing hardship in life and business, I've discovered how powerful our mindset and purpose is in creating a life of joy and celebration while having a whole lot of fun along the way. Join me with a coffee or cocktail as I connect with inspiring leaders, entrepreneurs, tastemakers, and extraordinary people as they share their journey in life and business and how they are striving to live a life of purpose. Your fears and beliefs in yourself will be transformed as you work towards creating the best version of yourself from the inside out. You're in good company. Cheers to celebrating simple life. Today on Celebrating Simple Life, the podcast, I'm chatting with sisters Jodi Willoughby and Carolyne McIntyre Jackson, owners of Crave Cupcakes. The art of baking runs deep in their family. Growing up on their family farm in High River, Alberta, they learned from the best. Their grandmothers, aunts, and mother were amazing bakers. They not only taught them how to bake, they passed along their values of quality, honesty, and integrity. Their goal is to bring joy into people's lives through exceptional home-style baking. Crave opened their first bakery in Calgary back in 2004 with their grandmother's chocolate cake recipe and their mother's secret to irresistible buttercream icing. From the very beginning, Crave has been a true labor of love. Today, Crave has grown to 6 bakeries and a team of 100 amazing people. Their values continue to live in everything they do through their team, processes, and baking. They continue to crack every egg, open every pound of butter by hand, and only sell freshly baked, incredible cupcakes. If you haven't had the pleasure of tasting one, or in my case, many of their cupcakes, I'm just going to suggest to run, don't walk to their bakery because they are amazing. These incredible women are growing an authentic business, and I am so excited for you to listen to our conversation today. So tune in. Hello, Jodi and Carolyne. How are you?
Oh, we're great. Good. How are you?
Good. This is my very first time not only having sisters, but 2 guests at once. And I'm so excited to have you on the show today.
Well, thank you for inviting us.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I absolutely love Crave Cupcakes. I love your business and what you stand for. And it has just been so wonderful learning more about you guys as we've, first of all, kind of gotten to know a little bit more about each other through the Shine Summit that you guys are going to be a part of next year.
Yeah.
And I am so excited for listeners to hear your story today because I think this is so cool. We'll preface this with my sister-in-law and I have, for like 15 years since we've known each other, always have this like back and forth, throw ideas out to each other that we would love to run a business together, but we know that that's probably never going to happen because we're in totally different fields and industries. But you guys are inspiration.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would love to hear a little bit of the background of both of your stories as individuals and how you kind of got led towards becoming entrepreneurs together in Crave Cupcakes. So whoever wants to jump in first.
Okay, for sure. So it's Carolyne. And, we grew up on a farm as kids together. Obviously, we're sisters. But we grew up on a farm, and we just always had homemade baking in our home. And I loved to bake, and Jodi and our other sister loved to ride horses and move the cattle with our dad. And I didn't particularly like ride horses. And so I was the baker, and they would be out, and I just always loved to bake. And when I was growing up, I was like, I just want to own a bakery and make people happy. And I actually went to university, and I have a degree in food business management, so it's kind of a different degree. It wasn't like food science, and it wasn't straight business. And I wanted to come out making new craft dinners and working for craft and being creative and developing and doing fun things like that. And then I went and worked for Safeway. They're behind the scenes. I worked in their manufacturing plants and, saw that like working in a big company like that, it was all very science-based, not a lot of creativity. And so I had taken cookies to my cousin's house one night, and he's like, you should really open up a bakery. And I was like, yeah, I've got $1 million, I can do that. And he just kind of inspired me to say, like, well, what would it take? So I just kind of started doing the research and looking it up, and, I felt like, okay, well, yeah, maybe this is doable and it doesn't take $1 million, but, I would really love to have somebody with me doing it. And so I asked Jodi and said, hey, do you want to open up a bakery with me? This is crazy. And she said yes. And we were always really good friends growing up on the farm. Just, if you're a farm kid, you don't really have anybody else to play with. So if you fight with your sisters, you better make out pretty quick or you're playing by yourself for the rest of the day. So we were always really, really good friends. And yeah, it just was the person who I wanted to start a business with. And that's kind of where it started.
I love that. That is so great. That also inspires me because I have 2 daughters and I never had a sister growing up. So it's nice to see that you can fight and make up and still be best friends as adults.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
That's great. So now we'll make sure that Jodi's story matches here. Is this how you saw it too, Jodi?
Yeah, well, same thing. I mean, I took a different path. I went to the University of Calgary and got a community of rehabilitation and worked at a preschool as the clinical director for a number of years with children that came from high-risk homes. And so in my time and the experience that I started to gain, I really worked on management skills. I managed a team of therapists. I did a lot of the organizational components for children when they're enrolling in school. And so when Carolyne came to me, we both knew that we had strong skills and experience that we could both use moving forward. The funny thing is Carolyne taught me how to bake because, like she mentioned, I didn't spend much time in the kitchen growing up. And, I love to bake. I appreciate baking. And so I'm there definitely as a good tasting person, but just never learned how to bake to the extreme that Carolyne did. And so together we worked on recipes. We worked on cupcake flavors. We worked on the business plan, the design, everything, and knew that together that we would be able to grow Crave. And, exciting for us that, 6 stores later and 80 employees were still doing things, how we wanted to do them. And again, we're still really good friends and work out problems all the time together, which is really great. I'll be the first one to admit I made a mistake, but Carolyn's always there to let's talk through this, let's get through it. We've handled bigger things. So
I love that. That is so incredible because you don't always hear the story turning out that way. And I think it's so great that you've been able to maintain that and grow and rise. And I mentioned this to you a while back when we were chatting that your first Calgary location of Crave was the very first time that I had ever been in a cupcake shop before, and we were in Calgary from Saskatoon visiting some family, and we're just going for a little walk around and checking out the cute neighborhood, and there you guys were, and it was just this charming little place that almost at that point, like Saskatoon, I don't know, had maybe any like cupcake exclusive bakeries at that point. And so it felt like we were on like a trip to a big city, and it just felt so charming and cute to be in your store.
That's a good story. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And then when you actually opened your location in Saskatoon, obviously excited that we were now lucky enough to have you guys here as well. So how did you decide, because I know that is often a challenge as small business owners to make the decision to keep status quo as is. We have a system running, things are going well. Do we expand? Do not? Like, what is sort of the right thing to do? How did you decide to expand locations within Alberta and then Saskatchewan as well?
I think it was always a really tough decision, in the throes of the beginning of the business when we just had Kensington, like we were selling out every day and everybody's like, oh, you should only ever have this location. And, you get to a point where you're like, man, like, you just get so many requests and people are like, oh, you need to put a store here, you need to put a store here, and you just kind of get, caught up in the whirlwind of that too. And, we really did feel like it is good product, and we truly believe in our product. And, we wish everybody could have Crave Cupcakes, and that, everybody could celebrate with our product and have a really great product, not just because, it's really good product. And I think, I eat a cake from somewhere else and I'm like, man, why don't they just like have our cake mix and like make our cake? Like, it's just so much better. And so I think you kind of get into that a little bit. And so you start to expand and you go into Calgary, and then, you kind of like, we kind of like got all quadrants of the city and felt like we had all 4 quadrants covered in the city. And then we did Edmonton and Saskatoon really, really quickly after that. It always felt like if you're from Calgary, Edmonton always feels like the next best choice. And then, we have a really good friend who lives in Saskatoon, and we had the opportunity to go into a really good spot in Saskatoon, and we're like, yeah, it feels great. And so we opened up, all of those stores within the first 6 years, and it's actually our 16th birthday next year.
Wow, week. That is wild.
Sweet 16 on September 7th, and we haven't opened a store in 10 years, and it is a challenge. And of course, when you only have stores in Calgary, there's a problem or something happens, you're the ones that go do it. You have a problem in Edmonton or Saskatoon, it's not like you're getting on a plane to Saskatoon to go turn the alarm off.
Right.
And so, I think we've spent a long time, and everybody's always like, what's next? What's the next step? How are you guys going to grow? And I think for us, a lot has changed over the last couple of years, and then clearly a huge change in the last 6 months.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to kind of see like where we want to do, how we want to move forward. I think that there's definitely growth on the horizon for us. I think we're at that point of, it's time to grow again. And so we're sort of just in the throes of working through that right now.
That's amazing. I love that's like classic entrepreneur. I love that we're like still in the throes of a pandemic and we are going to grow and dream and think bigger. I love it.
There could be good opportunity. There's going to be lots of retail space.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And people are going to need more and more reasons to celebrate. That's what I base my business around too. So I feel like that's a beautiful strategy. So your team is, I'm not going to say 100% unless you correct me, but is your team 100% female across your stores, or is it mostly female? I want to dive into this women in business piece.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Right now we are 99.9% female. We have Dylan, who is our delivery driver and does some of our accounts payable work for us, who's invaluable to our team actually. Due to COVID and just some changes we have to make with our staffing, our boys are now picking up a few shifts here and there when there needs to be some coverage, or there needs to be cake mix made, or a pop-up run. And so we have these 3 boys now that are Oliver's, Carolyne, he's 13, and mine is 13 and 15. So they've kind of stepped up and are taking over a few of the duties as well right now.
I love that. That's amazing.
That's cute.
I feel that's always, my daughter is almost 13 and she loves that I have my own business, and that could be something that she would be able to like pop into as needed as she gets older as well, with things that are needed day to day. That's awesome.
Exactly.
So how do you find, especially back to the multiple locations, multiple cities, places where you live in some of the locations, but you don't live in other of the locations, how do you keep your team connected? And do you keep them connected as a whole, or is they mostly just store by store? And how do you kind of grow and inspire and just keep you guys moving forward all together?
Yeah, that's a great question. We work really hard on maintaining the relationships with our managers. We use the verbiage all the time that, the stores are an extension of Carolyne and myself and our personalities and our goals and our values. And those same goals and values are also, we hire people with the similar goals and values that, want to be here, love what they do, are inspired by food and beautiful things, and want to be good leaders. And so for us, it's really important that Carolyne and I work with them, we mentor them, that they in turn can mentor the bakers and the retail girls. We have really, really great team members right now. They've all been working so hard through COVID. Customer service is a tough place to be right now, and it's unpredictable. The way that our girls and their managers have been able to keep them inspired to keep showing up. We had to go through a bit of a tough time there when COVID first happened, and we had to change operating days and hours in our stores. We had to put some girls on temporary layoff. And we've been able to bring, a lot of our team back, which has been inspiring for everybody as well. And we just work we have open and honest communication. Our managers take great care with each other. They all form really good bonds so that there's open communication between them. Carolyne and I are very approachable. We're in the stores a lot. We're very hands-on, so that they can come to us with concerns or issues or questions. We even had a couple of our managers that came and said, hey, listen, can we come and talk to you? And Carolyne and I are like, absolutely. Send us an agenda. What do you want to talk about? Let's, because there is so much uncertainty right now, and there are some questions we can answer, and there are some questions that we're going to have to say, okay, we have your back. We're here. We know we'll share information, and we'll keep moving forward with as much support as we can give. But then they, in turn, can do the same thing for their team members.
That's amazing. I love that. I really do feel that communication just often seems to be, when things aren't going well, that's just like the missing piece that just take things from maybe not being as good as it could to being really amazing when everybody feels that openness and able to share vulnerably.
Yeah. And Carolyne and I are the first ones to say, we made a mistake. We wear our heart on our sleeves. We don't try to gloss things over. We admit when we're scared. We admit when we're sad. We celebrate successes. We are here for our girls when they've had a bad day. I mean, that's one thing out of COVID. I wish, I could have walked in and given those girls a big hug when I knew how tired they were, because that's the kind of people we are. And right now, we're fortunate because we have people who are like us and, question us and want to do better and want to do new things, but are compassionate and kind. And so, that is what Crave is all about, and they embody those strengths.
I love that. So all things COVID aside, prior in the last, nearly 16 years of your business, what kinds of things have you guys done, whether it be location by location or as a larger group, to actually connect with each other out of work settings? Do you do things and do social activities and things that are together that kind of separate the business from just getting to know each other, and therefore maybe feel like your team camaraderie can be even that much more personable when they are at work?
Yeah, I mean, I think we do. We don't do a ton of team building because it feels weird when you have two managers that can't be a part of something. Right. But we make an effort every 2 months to have an actual in-person manager meeting. So everybody comes. We have a really good meeting. We always have lunch together. We always have a really great meeting. And even though it's obviously business as a meeting, you really that when it's time to have a manager meeting. And so, and again, we always have a Christmas party every year where we make sure everybody has, they come with their spouse, and we get together like that. And I think that is really, again, really embracing the camaraderie with each other. And an interesting thing, I mean, I know this is crazy, but a few years ago, we implemented Slack And Slack has been like such a team, before where like they were like maybe solving problems on their own, or like everybody was sending an individual email. Slack has actually been allowing the managers to like talk to each other and solve their own problems. And so I think, as crazy as it seems, like technology like was kind of a bringer together. It really was, and it felt like, even though we're not in Edmonton or Saskatoon, it's not like we're at, a Calgary store every day either.
Right.
And so the combination of like Slack and, in-person meetings, which we're very religious about. Of course, we haven't had one in obviously a few months now, and we're feeling it, and our team can feel it. And they're like, we all need to get together and be in a room together. And so we actually have a managers meeting scheduled for September 15th. And unfortunately, Lucia is not going to come, which is our Saskatoon manager. She's not 100% comfortable getting on a plane, which we totally respect that, but we're going to Teams her in. And I think, again, there's been that little bit of dynamic of, figuring out how to do Microsoft Teams so that maybe, we can do a really great in-person meeting once every couple months, but maybe we should be doing a Teams meeting every week too, kind of thing. So we definitely make a focus of getting together. We don't particularly all do, say, a retreat together, although I think maybe come next year, 2021, I think it's probably due for all these gals who have worked incredibly hard. So
I love that. Well, and everybody is going to be just desiring that even more, right? After all of this in the last 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I think there's just that connection piece that like is really, really important, just to get together and do things. So it's very true.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I'm seeing this from clients that I have in my business and in other female business owner friends and colleagues and people that I've just been talking to recently, that just, it seems to come up, and it's almost like now that things have started resuming up a little bit, in a sense of what things that weren't happening, I guess, 6 months ago, that are slow. People are starting to kind of get together in person, and things are happening a little bit more now. It's almost like once you do get together in person, you've realized how much more you've missed it. At least that's what I found. I was like, I'm fine. It's no big deal. Okay, virtual, all good. And as I've had occasional meetings in person, I'm like, oh, this is so nice.
It's true. It's really true. And there's just something about like getting together and having that contact and, getting really great problem solving and making that connection with each other. And it truly is not the same on a video call or on anything. And there just is that, the little sidebar conversations that can happen when you're in person and seeing each other, and it's a really important thing that we've done for the last, I don't even know how many years, just always bringing our managers together and making sure that they also have each other to be on, and if you never get to see each other in person, that's a tough thing. So it's pretty important to our team.
I'll get back to the show in 20 seconds, but I wanted you to be the first to know about the new event I've created just for you. The Curated Content Social is a networking photo shoot that simplifies the content that you need to show up authentically on your social media. Imagine gathering together with a dozen amazing business owners to connect, grow, and learn more about each other's businesses while having a fun night out. And it's all photographed. This event only happens once a month and tickets sell out fast. This is all about helping you to create an abundant mindset to thrive in business and show up just as you are. To join in the fun, visit celebratingsimplelife.com to save your spot or connect with Celebrating Simple Life on Instagram. All right, friend, back to the show.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, that's how I'm feeling too, even just about the Shine Summit that you guys are going to be a part of next year. I feel like everybody is going to be quadruply excited to finally be able to get together in person in some capacity rather than logging on to another virtual event, which I'll be honest, I've had some really positive experiences of virtual events that have really been incredible over the last 6 months, and maybe because too you have no other choice, so you kind of just make the most of it in any way that you can connect with others when you can. But yeah, I think it really is going to add a dynamic of maybe not taking things as for granted in the future a little bit.
Yeah. Sure.
I love that. So one of the events that I am so excited about, and it is coming up right away, is my curated content social that you guys are teaming up with me on with our Saskatoon Crave Cupcakes location. And I am so excited to have your beautiful treats available to our attendees for that. And I guess, how do you guys make decisions and decide how collaborating and working with other businesses kind of fits into your business model as Crave Cupcakes?
Yeah, and Caroline and I think it's really important to partner with people who, we like their business. They have a lot of the same values. I mean, I was showing Caroline your website. It's beautiful. So there's all those little things. We like the ideas. We like the products. It even rings true with us when we partner with different organizations for donation purposes, right? Mm-hmm. We want to partner with people who, are kind of, embodying the same value systems that we have, so that, it's a good partnership. And we want people who collaborate with us to get as much out of the partnership as we do. So that's very important. We're talking to people. We're like, okay, what can we do for you? What can we do on our end so that it's, that everybody's getting as much out of it as possible? Because that's the fun thing. You don't want to partner with somebody and then feel that, they regretted the partnership. And, so that's always very important. So even when we donate products to different events, we make sure that the event aligns with something that, one of us would like to go to, or we would like to send somebody to, or, we feel like it's a really benefit to the different communities. And so we just kind of take a little bit of time. We have a strong team when it comes to marketing, so we'll pass around the idea with Michelle. We have another girl that we do consulting work with named Lori, so we'll talk about different ideas there. And, we've had some tough social issues that have been brought forward in the last 6 months, too. And, as teams, we sat down and talked about, okay, what are we going to do? Caroline and I really like to stay pretty neutral when it comes to stuff like that. And so for us, it's just about finding those collaborations and those partnerships with people that are like-minded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And again, it kind of has to, be a good collaboration. And we've turned down lots, just knowing that it doesn't fit with, our business model or our philosophy or our values. It's always great when, it's a nice partnership together.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that it's sometimes easy to feel like if you are being approached or if you approach somebody else, it's easy sometimes just to think, oh, yeah, this could be an okay fit. Or sometimes I think I've been in my business for 20 years now, but when you're earlier on in business, sometimes it's easy to think, oh, I just need to say yes to everything because I want to make sure that I'm growing as a business or connecting with people. And that sometimes can come back to bite you because you aren't maybe doing exactly what you just said with following along. And I think the more confident that a person can be in what their business values are and their standards and values and morals and all of the things that go along with yourself as an individual that kind of naturally overflow into your business, you're absolutely right. That's when it feels like a mutual beneficial collaboration, because nothing feels worse than feeling like I know I've been in this experience before where I'm either have collabed, even if I've been the one to reach out to somebody or they've reached out to me and I've said yes, and then all of a sudden partway through you're like, oh boy, this is maybe not the right direction that this should have gone, and trusting your instinct and your gut on it and knowing that you kind of have to make a decision to either say, you know what, this just isn't working out and be willing to take that risk, or to find ways that you can kind of point it in the right direction that still feels good for your own business.
Yeah. Well, and I think we always try to be able to answer the question of why. So why do we collaborate with this person? Why did we make this decision? And if it's easy and it rolls off our tongues, then we know. And again, we do our due diligence. We don't jump on anything without looking and researching and checking. And so, we always are able to answer the why question like that. And and we've made mistakes too, and where we've made partnerships and we're like, oh gosh, okay, yeah, that maybe needed a little bit more intel before we jumped onto that one. But again, how do you know? You gotta take a few little leaps before you figure out what you're really looking for too.
Totally, I love that. So I guess that leads right into, what do you feel inspires you most in the way you get to show up in the world, in your business? And I guess you can each tell me your thoughts on that.
So, I guess I say, how does our business, how we show up, that we own Crave, or?
Yeah, I guess what is your favorite part within your business as to the way that I guess what makes you feel good about your business and about how you get to do what you do every day?
I think a big part of what inspires myself is the fact that, I truly believe in our product and what we do. And, I've done 3 Ironmans, I've run many marathons, and I feel like, people are always like, oh, well, that's kind of weird. And it's like, you know what? I believe in eating everything in moderation, and I believe in eating really delicious things. And so I think that what inspires me is that I think that what we make is truly delicious and 100% worth eating. And I think that we never make something that is not worth eating. And so, that allows me to, be confident in how I show up to a place knowing that, what we're making is not fake, it's not false. It truly aligns with our values of what we do every day. And, we cook all the time. It's almost like you have a strong business when your values are the same in your home life and in your business life. And I'll never forget, I was feeding my child Eggos. And I was like, what am I doing feeding him Eggos? I make everything from scratch in a business. Why am I feeding this child Eggos? And so I think that, I love, I think sometimes we almost, shy away from telling people, oh yeah, people will always say, oh, which one do you own? And you're like, well, we own all of them. And they're like, you mean you started it? And we're like, yeah, we started Crave. And it's we show up, I think, in a really humble way. And I think that that's how, we run our business. And we haven't always been out in the spotlight and showing things. I think we show up how we want to show up. And usually that's fairly reserved in the background. And really letting the cupcakes shine and do the work. And I think deep down, we know at the end of the day, we feel good about what we're putting out in the world every day. I truly believe in what we do and our product, and it's worth eating.
I love that. Well, we have this ongoing conversation, raising daughters, having the conversation about what we're putting into our bodies and making ourselves healthy without it turning into an obsession about this, which is something that I feel like is such a treading softly subject for women from birth to old age. It's just a constant topic, it seems, that's like always put out there for us as women. And I've always wanted to be so careful about being so open and honest about these conversations with my girls, and that we all feel a healthy sense of what feels right for ourselves and our own bodies. But we have this ongoing sort of light conversation about the fact, like, if you're going to, you enjoy it. You do not put something into your mouth, whether it's good for you or bad for you, and have guilt about it. You just go for it and then make healthy choices from there.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, we can't even, oh, sorry, go ahead.
One of our friends was like, well, you can't have that homemade chocolate chip cookie, but you can have the Nutrigrain bar.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay. Like, that is so, do you know what I mean? And so, yeah. Anyways, that's how we live our lives.
I absolutely agree. Well, I would much rather have a Crave Cupcake for breakfast than an Eggo. So I feel like that would be.
Yeah.
Well, we can't even drive by your store on Broadway, which is really like almost across the street from my husband's office. So she was like popped by. We drive by your store often, and like your store manager, my daughter's name is Lucia as well, and yes, and she every single time never fails. Like, if we are just whizzing past on the street and we're not really paying attention to where we are, she'll be like, "There's the store," and she recognizes it, ready to go in. Yeah, just very, very positive experiences for her. I love that. So, Jodi, what about you? How do you feel about the way that, for yourself personally, that you get to be a part of showing up in your business in the world?
Yeah. I think for me, and I just, one of the things that we really, really try to provide here is a really welcoming and learning working environment. I love it when we have girls that come back that worked for us 10 years ago and say, Crave was my favorite job. Because we have girls that are working for us that have worked for us while they've gone to university. We've had girls who started off as bakers that have worked their way up to managers. We have a girl that's been working for us for 15 plus years. She was one of the first girls Carolyne and I hired, and she works as, our head pastry chef, and now just has picked up the bakery manager role at our Kensington location. And so I just love that we can treat people with kindness and respect and give them opportunities. And, we all work for people who haven't been the best type of bosses. And so it's important to me, and I'm so happy that we're able to provide these environments for people. And I mean, and we love our staff, and our staff are the ones who are out there every day. We listen to them. We try to provide them with as much as they want to take on while they're working for us. I'm going to sit here and say that every person has walked through our doors had a 1,000% great experience, because sometimes what our expectations might be different than theirs of what they are wanting from a job, or our values are different than what they value. And so we've taken a long time to go through recruiting processes, interview questions, working interviews, so that when people come to work for us, they really, really want to be here. And so for us then to be able to provide them with that environment and great coworkers and a great manager, is really important to me. And again, the way I would, treat someone in my home, in the grocery store, or works for us would be exactly the same. And I value kindness and respect, and that's what I expect out of the people who work for us, and in turn they expect it from me. And it's in turn then how I expect my children to act at home towards each other, towards us, towards our family. That's very important. And so, people talk about their coworkers here like it's their family. And that's great. The fact that Carolyne and I are the dearest of friends, and our boys are the greatest of friends, it's great. And the fact that girls establish great connections with their coworkers, that's awesome, because that's the kind of environment that it's very important to me to make sure is happening. I want people to feel empowered and strong and happy and be able to get out of bed the next day, even if they've had a tough day, because they bought it.
I love that.
I love my cupcakes. I love my cookies. I love my desserts, and that's important to me. And so I really hope that we provide environments that people will have the same love and the same excitement and passion.
Oh my goodness, I just love that so much. That is so inspiring. I am so delighted that I get to have this amazing team and your company involved in my upcoming event, and I'm so excited to work with you guys on this. So to wrap up the interview, I always ask the same speed questions, and I'm going to get both of your answers to these, which will be even more fun because you're sisters and we'll see how similar and different you are. And we'll just go through a few of these 8 questions here. So you can decide who wants to jump in for each of your answers first. I'll just ask the question once, and then you can each give us your answers. What is one thing that you do in the morning that sets your tone for the day?
This is Carolyne, and I work out in the morning before I do anything else.
Good for you.
And this is Jodi. I will either go through all my email, texts, or go for a walk.
Oh, those are polar opposite ends of the spectrum on relaxation.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so what is your coffee order?
I am a pour over.
I like a non-fat, half sweet vanilla latte from Starbucks.
Yum. I love it. What is one thing that you have in your purse for day-to-day or when we are traveling, something that you just cannot live without?
I think mine is just a nice lip gloss.
Mine is my glasses.
Love it. Can't live without them. I love it. So you can be biased in this next question if you want, and I wouldn't necessarily call your product junk food, but we'll put it into the treats category. What is your favorite junk food or treat?
It depends on the craving of the month or the cookie of the month, but I am a diehard chocolate chip cookie gal.
Yeah, just classic, right?
And wherever I go, I have eaten many a terrible one. I cannot go into a new cafe without buying a chocolate chip cookie. Just ask my husband and child. They're like, oh my God, another bad one. I'm just like, anyways, chocolate chip cookies mine.
Me too.
That sounds like a bucket list item, like how many countries can we try a chocolate chip cookie?
Yeah. Everywhere we go. Yeah. Everywhere.
Love them.
I love it. What is the first concert that you ever attended?
Stevie Wonder, wasn't it? Stevie Wonder.
Oh, you know Stevie Wonder?
Yeah, I think so. We went with my aunt and her yeah. I think that was the first one. Probably not withstanding like Raffi or the child one. The first one I can actually remember. I think Stevie Wonder. Yeah.
That's a pretty sweet one to have as your first concert. I love it.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you absolutely love to do in your free time?
I do enjoy exercising, so I like to go ride my bike. But we're actually trying to take up golf.
Golf.
We are trying to take up golf. We used to golf pre-marriage.
Yeah.
So now 18 years of marriage to non-golfing husbands, we are taking up golf.
Yep.
So the two of you together are taking up golf.
Yeah. And that's what we're going to do in our free time, Kimberly. That is our goal.
This is happening. Okay, I'm going to follow up with you on this. I'm going to tell you what kind of golfer I am. I am the sit in the passenger seat cruising around and stopping to have beverages.
Okay. We're really trying. We really need that. We need to do something. We need to do something. Our time, I think right now, our time's always been filled with kids and and they're getting older, and now it's time to do something different.
Well, it is. And, that's an actual thing. I was actually chatting with my sister-in-law about this, and she's in a little bit of a younger stage with her kids than I am. And I'm in that stage too, where I'm like, hey, I actually have free time. Like, my kids stay home on their own. Like, it's not a thing where they like need me all the time anymore. And so it's a thing though, as we get older, to actually realize that we need to remind ourselves or reinvent ourselves into figuring out what we do for a fun. And cleaning and organizing our house and only working in our business cannot be the only things that define quote unquote fun.
True. Very true. We are going to make golf fun. Yeah. Even though
what? This is inspiring. You're going to inspire many people today, and we're going to follow up with you and see how your golfing is coming. I'd like some maybe video vlogs of you guys golfing. That would be good.
I don't know. We're not there yet.
Okay. To be determined.
Yeah. Okay.
What is your favorite travel destination or place you're most looking forward to going once travel isn't as restricted as it is right now?
Maui. Yeah. Or London. We went to London last year. Yeah.
Lovely. I love Maui, but I have never been to London. That is on my list.
It's a list. Yeah. High item. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so what would your perfect day look like if you had a full day free and nobody needed you?
I'd probably get up in the morning, I'd do my workout, then I would sit and have my coffee, check my emails, probably tidy the house, and then maybe go for some shopping, and then I'm going to say golf game.
We're beginning a round of golf. That's what I was going to say.
And then we would end with a lovely glass of wine.
Yeah. A glass of Prosecco and then a glass of red wine. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. You guys, I knew we would be friends. That's perfect.
I would do the same. I would probably get up. I would take my dog for a walk. Then I would have my coffee, check my emails, tidy the house, probably do at least 4 loads of laundry, and then meet Carolyne for a golf game and sit on a deck somewhere and have a glass of Prosecco, followed by a lovely glass of red wine.
Oh, my goodness. Now, this might actually be what I'm going to do this weekend, minus the golf, which I have not added to my list as something that I'm going to be doing. That sounds fabulous. Well, you guys, I really look forward to meeting you in person in the near future. I can't believe we've had these conversations, and Jodi and I have been in touch regularly about different things, and I still have never had the pleasure to meet up with you in person. But this has been so much fun, and I'm so grateful that you guys have taken the time to share your story of life and business, and you are just an inspiration. And I hope that listeners that are following along with us today will go check you guys out on Instagram and Facebook and your website, which is a guaranteed sell because your pictures and products look good enough to eat even from the website. And I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Celebrating Simple Life, the podcast, is a proud member of the Saskatchewan Podcast Network, which is supported by Connexus. Does money spark joy in your life or cause you stress? If you said stress, you're not alone. For 42% of Canadians, their biggest stressor comes from money. At Connexus, they care about your financial well-being. Money doesn't have to be stressful, and Connexus is here to help. The Connexus Money Talk blog provides expert advice, tips, and solutions for all life stages and events. Getting married, buying a house, budgeting, saving, they cover it all and more. And did I mention it's free? Check it out today at connexusmoneytalk.ca and start feeling confident and stress-free about your money. This show would not be possible without you, my incredible listeners. It would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to Celebrating Simple Life on Apple Podcasts or download and listen on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you choose to listen. If you really want to make my day, leave a review. These reviews, ratings, and sharing screenshots of podcast episodes that were engaging for you on your Instagram stories and tagging friends that you think should hear the episode too really helps the podcast grow. It makes me so happy that I often select reviews to read on the show, and if yours is chosen, you will receive a special gift from me. Thank you for being a part of my mission to connect stories of business and life. Cheers to Celebrating Simple Life.